All right. Good morning. This is LibGuides Basics. I want to welcome you to our session today. Um, we are going to cover a lot today. Basically, we're going to learn about creating and setting up a new LibGuide. We're going to learn about the different parts of a LibGuide, and we're going to learn about adding and reusing content on LibGuides and making that content accessible. So we have quite a few things that we're going to work on today and kind of go through and learn the basics about LibGuides. I am going to be bouncing back and forth between my presentation here and my browser so that you can actually see where some of the stuff is live as we go through.
Alrighty.
The first thing we're going to talk about today is creating a LibGuide. When you first create a guide, you'll name it and choose its layout and type, and then you will assign it to the group for your campus library guides. Okay. We do have a naming convention for guides just to kind of keep things organized and know which campus, which guides are associated with. So you should name your guides with guide name dash campus name or guide name slash dash statewide if you're working on a statewide guide. Let me switch over here. To create a new guide, you click on Create Guide here on your dashboard, and it takes you to this page where you can set everything up. We do have information over on the right-hand side here about all the different settings you should choose. So there are reminders right here about how to name your guide, how to choose your layout, and assigning your type and group. There are links over to the guide for library guides to tell you about descriptions and things like that for the different guide types. When you set up your layout, you can actually reuse from a previous guide, copy from an existing guide. But if you start fresh, this gray box right here is where you can set your layout starting out. And so if you click the down arrow, there are two layouts that you will use. There's one that says Library Guides tab layout, and then the other one says Library Guides side navigation. Okay, and that gives you either the navigation across the top or the navigation across the left-hand side of your guide. Okay, both of those layouts are listed right here at the side. Then,
Excellent.
of course, you'll give your guide a name. You can give it a description if you want to, you don't have to. And then you will choose your guide type. The different guide types, let me come back over to my presentation here. The ones you'll use most are general, which is basically library information that applies to any subject or course. So if you have a citation guide, you might label it as general, or if you have a guide for a specific database, that would be general. Course guides will apply to a specific course, such as English 111. Okay. Then subject guides are a little more general than course guides, but still focus on an academic program. So instead of English 111, it might be just English in general. Okay. And then topic guides cover subjects that are unrelated to the library or academic programs. So you might have a guide on healthcare that's not specifically related to a course. It's kind of relevant, but it's not a specific course. Or you might have a guide about elections coming up. Those would all be topic guides. Okay. Once you choose all those settings, you also have your group assignment. If you sit here and you type in your campus, your group will show up. Okay, and then so you will assign it to the group for your library guides. The reason you want to assign it to your group, there's a couple of things. It'll make it show up automatically if you have any lists that are generated for library guides. It will also give it the formatting and layouts that are set for your campus. So all of the headings, all of the fonts, all of that are set by assigning it to the correct group. You can password protect guides. Only people who have the password will be able to access the guide. And then you have the share guide content down here, which you can say no, which means nobody can copy info from that guide. That includes you. You can't copy information from your own guide if you have no set. Internal means that only Ivy Tech people can use content from your guide. And the community means that you can share your content can be shared with anyone and everyone in the LibGuide system. Okay. And then you would create your guide down here at the bottom.
Excellent.
Yeah. I just realized I don't have my video turned on, so I'm going to do that so you can see me talking. I apologize for that.
Oh, that's all
I
right.
meant to do that first thing. There we go. All right, I'm going to come back over to my slideshow here.
Here's my face
When
too.
you,
I
yeah,
my
hi.
tired face.
All right,
Go ahead.
setting up your guide. This is after you've created it. You have several things that you need to set up in your guide. First off are the friendly URLs. These are really important because they give you an easy to share address for your page. Give me just a minute to switch over to my guide here. There we go. You can see the URL right now is this bit of mess. Numbers
Mhm.
and all sorts of symbols and numbers and things like that. On the other hand, if you edit that and give it a friendly URL, you get a nice link that you can share with people. Okay. So when you set up your friendly URL, you're going to set it at both the guide level and on every page. Because you will see right here, if I set my guide URL, and it does take it a second to refresh here, I get a pretty URL for my guide, but my page URL is still a mess. And so then I can come down here and also set my guide page URL. Come on. There we go. And I get a nice URL for that as well. When I set my guide URL, you'll notice that I typed in my campus and then a slash and then my guide name. Okay. That is a good format to keep guides organized by campus as well. What this does is, for example, if there are multiple guides about noodle tools, we can tell they can all have the URL with noodle tools at the end, but we've got a Fort Wayne noodle tools, we've got a Columbus noodle tools, we've got a statewide noodle tools. Okay. And so they all have unique URLs, even though they all end with noodle tools. Okay. And you can see that right here using the format campus/guide/page. So in that first box, I did my campus and guide, and then I did the page down at the page level. And again, you would have to do that for every single page you add, because if I come in and I go to my other tab here, I get that ugly URL again. All right. The other thing you can set at the guide level are the subjects and the tags. What these do are group your guides together. They're helpful for creating widgets to use in other places. For example, the guides page of your website. Subjects are predefined, but tags can be generated as needed. So if I come back over to my guide, I can click on subjects and choose the subjects I want to add to this guide. And I would just click on each of them and hit save. Like I said, tags can be generated. It's reloading again. It is very slow today, guys. I apologize. All right, and now you can
No,
see
don't
that subject
apologize.
is
It's
added
early.
there. And then over here under tags, I can assign, there are predefined ones, but I can also assign anything I want to it. So I could say that I'm going to tag this guide as sandbox and hit OK. And now that tag is there as well. And what these do, again, are group your guides together. So if I, and I should have had this open already, come back to my guides page here. And actually, these ones are grouped together based on the guide type. But if I come to the Fort Wayne website, and go to the guides page, you can see that when I go by subject, I actually have each of these subjects, and the guides that I have tagged with those subjects are showing up in that section. Okay, so it just makes it a cleaner, a way to automatically organize your guides for you as long as you have the widgets in here, which we'll talk about widgets in a little bit. Okay. All right. Once you have your guide created, of course, you're going to start adding content. Your content are organized into pages and boxes. Pages and subpage, of course, organize the content on your guide. You can make as many pages as you want, but you have to remember that we are also creating these guides for people who are using mobile devices to access your content.
Mm.
Too many pages can look odd in top nav pages because you start getting rows and rows and rows of tabs. Okay. And too many sub pages can make it really hard to navigate on mobile devices. So even though you can create as many as you want, you should try to keep it restricted a little bit to make sure your guide stays accessible to our users that are using different devices. We usually recommend avoiding single page guides. And this is because it creates a whole bunch of different guides that you have to manage and maintain. Whereas a lot of these single page guides can be added as a page on one of your existing guides. Okay. And of course, you create a friendly URL for that page and you can link directly to it. Um, and that guide is now a page that you can sit and maintain when you maintain your entire guide instead of having to remember to go to another guide to maintain. Okay. When you add a new page, you click the plus button at the top and you get several different selections. You're generally just going to use regular for the page type. You give it a name. And then for position, it's either a top level page, which means it will be a tab, or it'll be a button on your side nav. And then you'll have the option to make a sub page, which will give you a drop down on each of these tabs. And then, of course, you can make it in draft mode, which means that it will not be publicly visible until you uncheck that draft mode button. Okay. The next part of your guide are the boxes. Okay. Boxes organize the content on your pages. Okay. So pages organize on your guide, boxes on your pages. You can create standard, tabbed, gallery, and profile boxes. And actually, they are releasing a new box type this month, which is going to make one of our advanced LibGuides features an actual creatable thing with boxes. That's kind of exciting. When you choose the box type, you have to do it when you create the box. You cannot change the box type later. So if you want a tabbed or gallery box, you have to do it right when you create it. If you forget, you have to delete the box and recreate it later. And then your boxes will show the title by default to separate your content, but you can set them to floating to hide the title if you need to. All right, so when I add a box, there's where I put my box name in. I can do my type. Okay. A profile box is just this box over here where with your contact information, whatever you've set up in LibApps for your profile. The position, you can assign it wherever you want in the column. And then you've got floating, which is what hides the title, and of course draft mode, which means it won't be publicly viewable until you unhide it. We do recommend keeping the titles as much as possible because that is an accessibility feature. It helps people with screen readers navigate your page. Okay. Next, we're going to be talking about adding content. Content is added to your guides by using assets. Okay. Assets are all of the different options you see when you click on the Add Reorder button down here at the bottom of the box. Okay. The rich text HTML asset is the most used and can hold just about any content, but for certain types of content, other assets have benefits that work better than the rich text HTML boxes. And so those are what we're going to talk about next, are all those different types of boxes. Or I'm sorry, assets. Okay. The first asset we want to talk about is the link asset. These let you build sortable lists of links to other resources. Okay. There are some great benefits to using link assets instead of just including links in your rich text HTML boxes, because you can highlight text and make it a link in your rich text box or asset. They're reusable, which means when you add a link, you can come in and say, I want to reuse an existing link, search for it, and click on it to reuse it. Reusing content is great. We're going to talk about some of the benefits to that later on, about why it's so awesome to reuse content. The other nice thing about link assets is that they can be monitored by the link checker. I'll show you where the link checker is later on. Link checker goes through all of your links on a regular basis and makes sure that they connect to the website they're supposed to go to. Links that are included in your rich text HTML asset are not covered by link checker. You have to manually go through and check them. So you like to use link assets because you can monitor them that way. And they're searchable on the assets list, another tool I'll show you in a little bit, that makes it easy to update them. Okay. When you create a link asset, you give the name, the URL, the window target, okay, the description, and the description display. When you choose the description display, we usually recommend the beneath item title, which means it's visible right away. Or if you want to hide it, use the clickable info icon or do not display. When you use the hover item title, it is very hard to see that description on a mobile device. Someone has to know to kind of press and hold on the link and let it pop up, whereas the info icon is tappable on a mobile device, a touch screen. Okay. And then you can add resource icons or thumbnail images if you'd like. The next thing we're going to talk about are database assets. Database assets are a special type of link asset that are managed by the systems team. Okay. These assets are the ones that are used to build our A to Z list. Okay. But they can also be used in all of your guides. The nice thing about database assets is you don't need to worry about updating them. The systems team takes care of all of that. When we update the database list, your database asset will update as well. That also means that we can hide them everywhere at once when a subscription changes. So last year, when a whole lot of our database subscriptions changed, I hid them on the A to Z list, and they automatically hid on any guide that they were being used on. When they changed back in January, I unhid them, and they suddenly popped up everywhere that they were before. So it's a really nice way to keep things updated. When you use a database asset, you come into Add Reorder and click Database, and you search for that database. Let me think. Okay, and you'll notice it comes up. Okay, and you can choose whichever one you want. It will tell you if something is hidden. That means we don't have that link anymore, but I haven't completely removed it. and then you just click on it, hit save, and it will add it to your list. Okay. You do have to pay a little bit of attention because some of these databases might be owned by certain campuses.
So what happens if you accidentally like put in a link to a database that's owned by a different campus? Will it still work or will it be dead?
So I actually monitor those on a fairly regular basis and remove them if I need to. Um,
Okay.
your databases will show that they are owned by the owner on them. And it's a little confusing for Fort Wayne because I own the statewide ones and I own the Fort Wayne ones. But for other campuses, let me try to
Try
think of
Oxford.
one. Oxford?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can see this one is owned by Darla. That means it's a Terre Haute resource.
So I
Okay.
couldn't select that one because that's Darla's.
I would, yeah, because it's a Terre Haute only resource.
Hmm.
I do monitor those on a regular basis. So I will remove if somebody accidentally linked to a Fort Wayne database, I'll go through and remove those databases from the lists occasionally. So,
That's good to
um,
know.
yeah, it's not a huge deal because it doesn't happen that often and they don't get that many clicks, but we do need to be mindful of it because it actually violates the terms of our usage for those databases for the campuses that subscribe individually to them. They're not supposed to be
Oh,
used by other campuses.
oh, I
So,
understand that, and I think there's actually when I was first doing LibGuides, I think I actually did do that quite a bit unknowingly, like linking to different links that were owned by different campuses because I was just like, oh, here it is. So
mhm.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was on me
Jen,
because
do
I
you
didn't
want to
look that
look for the
closely.
ones that are owned by me because those will be statewide ones? But like I said, there are a couple of Fort Wayne only ones that are also owned by me, um, and I monitor those semi regularly because they are part of our terms of usage for them. So
Well, if I ever do it by accident, I apologize in
yeah,
advance.
no, it's no problem. Like I said, I just go ahead and I just pull it off. So. It's one of those things that a lot of people don't really know about, and so I just kind of handle it behind the scenes. So, all right, so those are link and database assets. Next, we're going to talk about the media widget asset. They are a great way to include code on your guides, especially code that gets reused a lot, like search boxes. Okay, because you can reuse them. They are a safer way to add code to your pages because if you accidentally break your page with your code, you can go to the assets list and edit the asset directly to fix whatever you broke. Okay. If you have code directly in the rich text HTML box and you break your page, we have to reach out to SpringShare and have them fix it for us. So we actually prefer that you use media or widget if you're going to play with code. Okay. Um, when you add a media or widget box, again, you go to add a reorder media widget and you put in the name and the code. Okay.
So this would be like
And
a YouTube video or something like that.
if you want to add a YouTube video, that's a great use for it. You would put the embed code right here. I have widgets created for all of the search boxes.
And this
So
is
I
okay
can
for
come
us to
through.
use even though it's made by you?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can see they're even labeled. There's Discover Search Columbus and there's Discover Search Statewide.
Can I
And
look
if
at
you
the
click
Discover
on it,
Search Columbus?
you
Oh,
would
never
use the
mind. Here, got
Columbus
the
one.
yeah.
The main reason for that is because the Discover Search for Columbus includes the I use Columbus catalog.
Oh yeah, never mind. I'll
That's why
play around
you
with it
guys have a
later.
separate that's why you have a separate Discover box. Yeah. Um, and it actually I can use that one. Whoops. When I'm reusing, and this is true for links and boxes and anything, there is always this copy option. When you reuse a resource, and we'll talk about what that means later on, but that is there. I just kind of wanted to show you where it is. Generally, you want to leave it unchecked. So there's Discover Columbus. I'm going to click, and there's my Discover box. Okay. Um, okay. And there it is. So you can see, and if I search, this is going to take me to the Columbus Discover. And it's got all the formatting and everything right there in it.
I
On
love
my
it.
statewide staff guide, there is a databases and search widgets page, and there's a page specifically for the search widgets. If you come in here, it will tell you exactly what name to put into that search to add that search box to your page. So if I copy
Oh,
this and go to my guide and add a widget, whoops, I'm going to remove this one just so we don't get confused. Add
oh,
widget.
you've made so much stuff, Liz. This is awesome.
I'll add this widget and save. And now that academic search box is right there. Okay, there it is. All right. And again, like I said, it's a safer way to add code because it's a lot easier to edit if something breaks. Hi, Susan. Welcome in. And Jossie, I saw you come in, and I think I forgot to say hi. Hello. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Next, we want to talk about the book from the catalog asset. These are nice because if you put in the ISBN, it will pull all the book information for you, including cover art for most books. All you need to do is add a call number and a link to the catalog, and then they are also reusable. You can search for a book that you've used and reuse it in someplace else. And just real quick, I'll show you that as well. Book from the catalog. You plug the ISBN in, it will auto-populate most of this. You can edit anything that it populates, and then plug in your call number and URL. Same thing as with links. You do have the description option. And again, we recommend the beneath or the clickable. Don't do the hover item title. It's not that usable on mobile devices. Okay. All right. I'm going to come back over here. Finally, I want to talk about the document or file asset. These, of course, let you upload a file when you create the asset. They can also be reused. And anytime you upload a new version of the file, any copy you've made of it that is still mapped to the original will also update. Okay. And it works just the same way as any of the other assets. You click on it, you fill in the information. There's that description display again. Okay. And you select your file. You can password protect if you need to. Whoops, I did not mean to actually click on that. And you have the option to reuse as well. Okay. One thing about documents and files is after you create them, you do get a link for them that you can use in other places. However, we do highly recommend keeping the file asset somewhere on your guide so that you have an easy place to update the file if you need to. Okay. And of course, there are a whole lot of other assets that we're not really going to talk about too much today, but they are fun to play with. The RSS feed, you plug in the URL for the feed and it will auto update. The guide list is, again, one of those things where if you choose the keyword or you choose the subject, it will auto populate for you as well. There are polls, Google search widgets, LibAnswers, and LibWizard widgets as well. One of the great things about LibGuides, and the thing I've been mentioning this whole way along, is that you can reuse content. You don't have to start from scratch every time. You can reuse pages, boxes, and most assets. Okay? Just that same spot everywhere I've been showing you where it says reuse, that's where you can do it. So if I want to add a copy of this content box to another page, I'm going to add a box. Reuse, choose my guide, choose my box. I can name it if I want. the position, draft or not, and then this copy option I showed you earlier. The thing with copying, if you do not check this box, your item will remain what we call mapped to the original item. That means that anytime you update the original, every copy you have of it, every mapping you have will also update. But if you need to make changes to this particular instance, you do need to check this copy option because you cannot edit mapped versions. Okay. The thing is, once you copy the item, if you update the original, the copy will not update. Okay. I'm going to leave this one mapped and hit save. And you will see I get an exact copy of my above box. And just as an example, if I add another database to my original box, okay, and I have to refresh to see it, but it will also add to my mapped box as well. Okay. Again, you can do this with boxes. You can do this with pages. If I add a page, I can reuse a page from my English guide. As a top level or as a sub page. Okay. And again, that copy option is there. And I'm going to hit save. So here I did not choose copy, and you can see it's mapped and I cannot edit it. But if I go to my English guide and edit it, it will change here. On the other hand, if I add that page, and I say copy, and save it, come on, there we go. Now I can make changes to the page. I can say, well, I don't want this database there. Okay. It won't affect the original page. However, if I make changes to the original page, this page will not update at this point. Okay. This is a completely separate page now. Okay. And again, like I said, pages, boxes, and most assets. Sometimes if you are reusing information from somebody else's guide, you may need to update it to be compatible with your campus because it may have information relevant to the campus that used it originally. Okay. Let's talk about accessibility. We're going to talk a whole lot more about accessibility in one of our other sessions. We highly recommend attending it because accessibility isn't just helpful, it's required. Okay. As a public institution, we are required to follow the web content accessibility guidelines. Okay. These are federal rules, actually, that have to be met on websites to be accessible to all users. Some of these features are actually built into our LibGuides. For example, headings. We mentioned not hiding the title of your boxes. That's because they are a heading that help people navigate the page. The mobile layout, you'll notice that our guides automatically condense when you are on a mobile device so that it's more visible on a phone or a tablet. Because if you try to view this entire page on your cell phone, it would be absolutely tiny. Now, some things, like I mentioned, the menus up here at the top, you have to be aware of because if you do too much, it won't be very usable on your mobile device. I do highly recommend when you create a page to look at it on your phone and see what it looks like to see if you need to make modifications to make it mobile accessible. Okay. Other things you're responsible for, like I said, the head, the menus and things, but also alt text on images. That's important so that somebody using a screen reader can tell what your image is because they can't see it. Colors are majorly important because there are colors that won't show up for different levels of color blindness, but also there are colors that don't have enough contrast for low vision users. Okay. For example, a lot of people like to try to use the bright green on top of the Ivy Tech green. And while it's perfectly visible to you, it is not visible to somebody with low vision. There's not enough contrast. And so they wouldn't be able to read whatever you put in that box if you use bright green on dark green. Okay. Fonts are another accessibility thing to consider. When we set up the new LibGuides, we chose this font because it is a wide font and it is an open font and it is a fairly clear font. Script fonts and some of the serif fonts and smaller fonts are not as visible on computer screens, and some of them get very hard to read for people with dyslexia and other reading capabilities. Okay. Now, being a font like this is not guaranteed to be accessible to everyone, but it is a much more accessible font than some of the other ones that you might use on your pages. So if you actually leave your font on the default, it will automatically use this font style for you. Okay. We're going to talk a whole lot more about this in the session 4 that we're doing for LibGuides, building accessible LibGuides. And we do recommend that you attend that session. Even if you skip all of the other sessions, you really should attend that one because Natasha's going to go very in depth in different things that you can do to boost accessibility and meet the requirements that we need to meet. Okay, just a couple of resources I want to talk to you about today. There's, of course, our Ivy Tech resources. We have our Guide to Guides. That is on our statewide page. If I go back to the home page, the quick links, and scroll down, it's this orange one here, Guide to Guides. This has information about creating your guide, links to all of our LibGuides FAQs, those steps for creating a new guide, including all of the details about the different guide types and groups. Okay. Information about accessibility. This is a slightly in progress page. I am constantly adding things to this page as I learn more about accessibility and what we need to do. For example, on colors, I just added this accessible color palette builder. And there's a color blindness simulator so you can see what different colors look like to different people. Okay. There's also information that we're going to talk about in our advanced session, like Bootstrap and Font Awesome, and information about HTML, CSS if you want to read up on that before the advanced session. There is also information about our website consistency standards. These are for our main websites, not for our library guides, but these are all of the things that you need to have on your campus website. And also some of the things that are a little more flexible in what you can change. Okay. The LibGuides FAQs. There's some great FAQs in there. I showed you that button. Oops. That is on our homepage here on the Guide to Guides. Okay. All of them are here. You can go through it and look at them. Some of the ones I really recommend are, there's, where is it? You know what? I wrote them down in my PowerPoint. Let me go back over there. The how do I set up my LibGuide? What are LibGuide's assets? So all those different assets we talked about, there's a page that goes through all of them and tells you about them. and a whole lot more. There's a page about the Ivy Tech colors and which ones are accessible, all sorts of different FAQs there. Okay. SpringShare also has a ton of resources. If I come back to my main LibGuides page here, there's the help button up here at the top. And I can click on that and you can type in a question, but you can also just click on the LibGuides documentation. Once you're in here, you can search through all of the different FAQs that they have. What is LibGuides? Guides, groups, and content items, all of their information. But again, you can search. So if I want more about assets, I can type in assets and hit search. Okay, and there's all sorts of information here about different assets, different things about assets that you can learn about. They also have tutorials. When you come up, they've got Springboard tutorials, training, okay, and they've got a spot for you to ask questions. The Spring Child Lounge is great because it's basically a chat forum so you can talk to other people using LibGuides, see what they've done, see if it's things that you want to try. Okay, you can, if you're back on the Help Center, where's my link? Maybe it's all the way back. SpringShare resources. There we go. There's quick links here. You can see the live sessions, the recorded sessions, and SpringEU. SpringEU is great if you want to learn about different features for SpringShare and ways to learn. But also, I love the recorded sessions because you can go through any training session that they've done before and rewatch it. And they update them regularly. And then there's some maintenance tools in LibGuides that I want to show you. And these are things that we've talked about briefly, but I didn't actually show you at the time. First off, under content, you have your guides list. Okay. Of course, when I go to the guides list, it is massive because I see everybody's guide. But when you go, you will see your guides. Okay. This is a great way to see what's published or not. Okay. When it was created, when it was updated last, and you can edit, change the ownership, or delete the guide. If you do decide to delete a guide, we usually recommend making it unpublished first for a little while, just because I had this a couple of years ago. I decided to delete a guide. I made it unpublished first, and as soon as I made it unpublished, I had an instructor reach out and say, "Where did this go? We use it all the time." And so I published it again. Okay, so we do recommend unpublishing first, but if you go a while with it unpublished and nobody asks you about it, you're probably safe to delete it. Okay, but it's a great way to see all of the guides that you have. Also, under content, we have assets. Okay, and this is another spot where I will see everybody's, but you will see your own. Let me go to me here. It takes a while to load because I have so many assets, but there we go. In here, you will see all of your assets and you can filter them. So maybe I just want to see the document assets I have. You can also sort by name. So if you have duplicates, for example, if I had more than one of these, I'd be able to see it and I might go in and delete one of them and map it to the other so that they're the same version. The other thing you can do with your assets list is come over here to the mappings column, and if you put a 0 in, come on, there it goes, you can see all of your assets that are not being used anywhere. Okay, so like this link is not being used anywhere anymore. If I don't want it, I can go ahead and say I'm going to delete that link. And there it is, it's gone. Okay, the one time you do want to be careful with that are documents. because if you remember, I mentioned that documents can actually be linked to separately. So you do kind of want to check and see if you are using that document anywhere where it might not be mapped before you delete it. Okay. I do go through on a regular basis and clear out a lot of the unmapped assets to make sure that this list is staying fairly manageable. But you can see we have 46,000 assets throughout our system. So, okay. Um, the link checker. This is under tools and link checker. Okay. This is where, and it does take it a second to load. You will get to see all of the links. It has gone through and said, hey, this link is not working correctly. You might want to double check it. And again, this is a spot where you can filter to your name to see your links. And what you can do is you click on the link, and if it works, okay, this one seems to be working fine. Um, but I'll notice it says HTTPS, and if I come back to mine, nope, that looks fine. So I can say, all right, I don't need to check this link right now. It's good. I'm going to dismiss it. And you can go through. And it's a great way to go through and make sure that all of your links are still good. Now, you'll notice as you go through that there are a lot of times where it will pop up and it'll say it's not working, but you'll see that the link is still good. And that's because there are sometimes false positives. The service that they use to check all of these links is basically a web crawler. And some sites will block web crawlers. Anything that is using Cloudflare for dual, not dual authentication, a human verification will automatically block web crawlers. And any of our proxied links will block web crawlers. So you may notice things that are coming up on this list that are still good links. And if it's something that's not going to change, like the A to Z list, for example, is always going to be that, you can add it to exclusions so that the web checker or the link checker does not check it anymore. Okay. But you can go through that list and double check everything. Okay. Let's see here, content. Your image manager is here as well. One of the things you can do when you upload images to your image manager is if you click on them, it will come up and you can add alt text right there. And save it. And now if you reuse that image somewhere, that alt text will automatically go with it. It's kind of a nice tool. Let me back up here. Okay. Also under tools, there are widgets. This is where you can generate those lists of guides. So maybe I just want a list of Fort Wayne guides. Okay. There's the code right there that I need to put in my widget to have a list of Fort Wayne guides displaying. And that there's all sorts of different lists that you can create. An A to Z, users, all sorts of different things. Okay. And then those are the main ones there. And you won't have access to most of this unless you are an admin in the group that manages your library guides. You may have the groups option there. Okay. All right. Upcoming sessions. We do recommend signing up for more LibGuides content. Our advanced session is going to talk about code, but don't let it scare you because we're going to talk about ways that you can use code to add things, fun things to your guides. I am going to give you a rough understanding about code. You don't have to have an in-depth knowledge, but you need to understand a few of the basics so that when you're copying and pasting these codes, you have a rough idea of what they're doing. Okay. I do recommend it. Don't be afraid of the code. There is some really great stuff that you can learn there, and I do encourage you coming. There is a created a LibGuide session where we are going to help you create your own sandbox guide, which is a great way to experiment with different LibGuides techniques, including code in a spot that's not going to impact your published guides. Okay. And then, of course,
Perfect.
the building accessible LibGuide session. I encourage that one for absolutely everyone because we're going to go really into the basics of accessibility and talk about what is required when you are creating LibGuides so that everyone can access your content. If you haven't signed up for those yet, you can use the QR code or again, go to our staff page and sign up for those guides. Okay, that is what I have for you today. Do you have any questions?
That was really comprehensive, Liz. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I missed the one on Monday, but
All
I'm
right,
I'm
no
glad that I made
problem.
this one. So
I
this
am going to post recordings for both sessions so that you can go back and watch the one from Monday because we hit some different things today that we didn't hit on Monday, and we hit some things on Monday that we probably missed today because I start going off on tangents all over the place. So, yes, go ahead.
I love that this is recorded because I'm definitely going to come back and use it for reference because yeah, sometimes I need a
Yeah.
couple times to go back and look at something before I really understand it. So
Yep. I
perfect.
will also send out this slideshow to everyone as well. Once I
Yes,
get
wonderful.
today's recording, I will have everything sent out to both groups and to anyone who missed so that you can all have the session.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Liz. I can't believe you do so much of this. Do you have like a double degree in like computer science or something?
I don't. I actually learned coding in middle school because of a game I played. You could actually have your own web page on it, and you had to have a rough understanding of code in order to create those pages because
Wow.
they were all hard coded from HTML rather than the drag and drop builders that we have now. So.
Wow. I wish I'd known about
I'm
that game
I'm
when I was
very
in middle school.
self-taught because it was something that was interesting to me. So
Excellent. Thank you so much, Liz.
yeah, thank you for coming. Susan, did you have any questions today? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for coming. Of course, if you do have questions, you can always send them into the internal Teams queue, and we're happy to help out with that. All right.
All right. Thank you,
All
Liz.
right.